logistics meets strategy, real talk, and the secrets nobody else is willing to say out loud. So today, listen, I need you to sit down for this one. My guest is someone who completely changed the way the logistics world thinks about marketing, lead generation, and go to market strategy. She is the CEO and the founder of Lead Coverage, the only go to market agency dedicated to supply chain. She is the architect behind the Supply Chain Growth Index, bringing real SaaS level measurement to logistics and finally giving our industry the data we deserve. She's a Harvard educated CRO, a bestseller author, a board member, and honestly, one of the sharpest women minds in freight. Cara, I'm so excited you are here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. You're like hype woman. I'm gonna take you everywhere I go. That's awesome.
Surprise of my
I'm
talent.
like, keep reading, girl. Keep reading. I'm like, yeah, let's go. That was
Yes, I
thank you.
actually had to shorten your bio introduction because it was too long. I just left the best part.
That's very kind. Thank you. I'm
Yes,
super happy to be here.
yes, dear. So, Kara, take us back before being known as a strategist in supply chain. Who were you? What pulled you into this crazy world of logistics?
Oh my gosh. Super early on, I was working at an association management company, not very sexy. I was running the Association of Steel Distributors, the American Ladder Institute, very sexy stuff. And I got hired by Echo Global Logistics. I was super early, like I say number 12, but I could have been number 8 or number 15. But number 12 on the team at Echo, and was super fortunate to be a part of the 600 West environment really early on. Doug Wagner walked by my desk one day and he said, "Hey, we're going to take this company public. You want to write an S1?" And I said, "Yeah, I will Google that. And when I know what that is, I will tell you when it's done." So I walked my cute little 25-year-old butt to Barnes and Noble at Clark and Halstead, and I bought Stock Investing for Dummies. And I came in the next day and I was like, "All right, boss, I know all about the stock market. Like, let's price this IPO. Let's do it." And he was like, "Okay, thank you. Thank you for your energy. We're glad you want to be involved, but like we have bankers and people to do the job." But they were super kind to me and let me be a part of the IPO, and I got to do Reg FD and the NASDAQ stuff, and it was really cool in my 20s. So I was at Echo for a little bit through their kind of startup phase, and then I was at Seco Logistics for a minute, and then I was at Osborne Hesse as they became Geodis, and then I learned the statistic that kind of changed my life, which is less than 2% of all female founders will break $1 million top line.
Yes.
So it's an American Express number. I know this is your bestie in freight, so I know you are all about the women in freight, and this is a super sad number. So 1.7%. I said, all right, let's go do that. So we did that. We did that pretty quickly with an all-female team. And the next number is 10 million. The number of women who break 10 million is statistically irrelevant. They don't track it. It's just a list of women that do it. And that's the next goal. So that's how I got started in freight.
Is it yearly, the number?
Yeah, annually. So the number of women that break $1 million top line year over year, ARR, is 1.7% of all women that start businesses. Here's another fun statistic. Women start businesses more than men. So there are more female entrepreneurs in America, this is a US number, than there are male entrepreneurs. But when women start businesses, they do not grow them the way their male counterparts do. So yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a wild ride. I'm really happy that we're doing it.
That's good. Well, I guess I'm 1.7%. So now I want to get into that 10 million.
Yeah, we call it the 2% club. Come on and join us. Less than 2%, the 2% club.
Okay, so Kara, you built the first and only GTM agency and supply chain. What was the moment you realized this industry desperately needed different type of marketing? And can you please share more about the project?
Yeah. So it actually started super early on, my days at Echo, and Doug Wagner is still the best boss ever, huge fan, and was very kind to let him write. He let me write about him in my book. So I wrote a book called The Revenue Engine. It's an Amazon bestseller. He's very kind to let me talk about him in the book. super early on, I was young. We were doing a lot of like logos and sell sheets, but I couldn't get a seat at the table. I was kind of in the room where it happened, but I wasn't really in the room where it happened. And then every time I was moving jobs, I was just a little bit outside of where the decisions were being made. And I realized kind of early on that the board meeting was all about revenue. And all of these men, they were all men, all these men really wanted me to do was to show them how what I was doing was impacting pipeline and was impacting revenue. And at the time in my 20s, it was really hard to do. Like, we do not have the sort of digital tools 25 years ago that we have today. When I got started, I'm old. I'm old now, but I was young then. And now we have these incredible tools. We have the democratization of the CRM management system like HubSpot, Zoho. We have the ability to send these mass emails and kind of digitally see who's interested. You have the ability to get email addresses better than we've ever been able to before. So everyone's doing it. So, it's a little overwhelming for the folks that are getting targeted. But for those of us that are trying to measure, looking for kind of the buying signals in the marketplace, the ability to do that at scale now with these democratized tools is just dramatically changed. So the answer to your question is, I just wanted to be in the room where it was happening. Like, I wanted to be in the room where they were making decisions. And early in my career, I was not in the room. The second answer to your question is, there is a dearth, like there's a gap in the marketplace for great go-to-market talent in freight. They're just not coming out of Harvard or Stanford and going into freight brokerage marketing. Like, it's just not happening. And so building an agency of experts in go-to-market in freight seemed like a pretty natural fit for me. It wasn't done because I had some grand plan to be some, mega million entrepreneur. But there's been a need in the marketplace that we've been filling for the last 10 years, and I'm super proud of it.
Yes, I'm proud of it too. And I'm glad you decided to be in the rooms. You are a great example of next generation woman. That's very, exciting. So you and your team created the SCGI and logistic gross
Good.
efficiency ratio, right? So so how do you want freight leaders to use these metrics in real world?
Great question. So we just launched, I think last week or the week before, we're calling it the Supply Chain Growth Index. So we talk to our clients about, there are 3 strategies that work in freight, and the first one is an index. We do a ton of indexes for our clients, and we're drinking our own Kool-Aid. So we now have an index. We essentially anonymized the data of all of our clients into one package, and then looked at, for every dollar that they are spending in marketing, or what we call go-to-market spend. So this is not sales spend, this is just marketing spend. We are looking at how much that delivers in pipeline. So in the B2B SaaS world, there's a very specific GTM ratio, or go-to-market ratio, which is all of your revenue divided by all of your go-to-market spend. That makes sense. I put $1 into go-to-market, how much do I get back in revenue? But in logistics specifically, marketing is oftentimes very far away from sales execution and closing. So I deliver pipeline, and then there's lots and lots of steps before the sales team actually closes the deal. This is super true in warehouse or in freight tech or in robots, less true in sort of more domestic transportation, but still pretty far away from this person is showing a buying signal to this person becomes a customer. So we are measuring against pipeline. So we are saying, for every dollar that you are putting into your go-to-market function, how much should you be getting back in pipe? And we have a range, and the range goes from not so great to absolutely crushing it. And our best customers are seeing a $27 return on their investment when it comes to putting $1 into marketing and getting it back in pipe.
Wow, that's amazing. You talk a lot about strategy, and that's most companies, skip this stage, right? This step. What does real strategy looks like for a freight or logistics company from a marketing and standpoint?
Great question. And we wrote a book on it. So
You can
So I
ask
wrote a book.
all the right questions so you can advertise your book. Go ahead, girl.
Yeah. So this is actually the workbook. So I wrote a book. It's called The Revenue Engine. It's 250 pages on a framework for how to execute go-to-market strategy in freight, very specifically freight and supply chain. So the framework that we follow is share good news, track interest, follow up, and I can share more about that specifically. And then I was sitting with a very sweet freight broker here in the South. I'm in Atlanta, and he's like, "Kara, this is so nice. I'm so glad you wrote this book. This is so special, but I don't read books. So could you make me like a Cliff Notes version?" So I did. So I made the companion workbook, and the companion workbook actually is like fill in the blanks. Like you literally fill in the workbook pages. And this is 28 exercises that will walk you through go to market in supply chain and logistics. I will share one sort of high level strategic approach that we take that I think surprises some people. And that is, it's a very specific philosophy. And the philosophy makes sense once you say it out loud. But it's this: if you have a total addressable market or a TAM that is finite, which everyone who listens to this does, right? The only infinite total addressable market is Coca-Cola or Pepsi, right? So if you are a freight and logistics customer or freight and logistics supplier, so an LSP, or you're a freight tech or you're a carrier, right? You have a total addressable market that is finite. There are only 19,677 shippers in the United States of America with $7 million or more in shipping volume. So there's a 20,000 company TAM. If you know that's your TAM, you then need to own the email address of every human who can buy from you. And if you take this total addressable market and you put every single email of every single human who can buy from you in this total addressable market, and this human being visits your website, that is a miracle. And you should call them as soon as possible. And so that's what we do. So our philosophy is own the email address of every human who can buy from you, and then look for the intent signals or the digital buying signals of those humans. And when they're ready to buy, they show up, and then you know that they're ready to buy.
Wow, that's interesting. I know that there are some tools that show the intent. Like, do you create a specific tool that is showing the intent? Your internal tool?
So I am not a technologist. If I had made the tool myself, I would be on a very different podcast. But I am very happy to use other people's tools. So there are 4 types of intent data. The first type of intent data is primary intent. This lives inside of your HubSpot. I hope all of your listeners are on HubSpot. This lives inside of your HubSpot, and there's a new tool inside of HubSpot called buyer intent. You literally go into the back of HubSpot and you turn it on. You just hit the on button. Wow. Anyone who is existing, has an email address that exists in your HubSpot that comes to your website, you can see that they have buyer intent against them as a human being. Okay, this is the only type of intent data that is human specific. The second type of intent data is kind of broad match intent data. This usually comes in our industry through ZoomInfo. I don't love this tool. I don't love ZoomInfo for very specific reasons. I really don't love the ZoomInfo intent tool for a whole bunch of other reasons, which I am happy to get into at another time. If you are making investments in marketing technology in 2026, I would not invest in secondary intent. I would invest. I love it. Yay, we're on the same page. I would invest in tertiary intent. The best possible intent tool for our space is 6 Sense. It is also outrageously expensive. It is so expensive. It's like $150,000 a year to use the tool, and you need a team that knows how to use it. Like us, you need money to spend on advertising. So it's very, very expensive. But if you can use it, it's amazing. The next tier down, we really like a tool called Rollworks. It's kind of a mid-tier tool, or Terminus. And then there's a bunch of tools kind of at the bottom of this kind of this lineage, or the number of opportunities there are in this space that you can dip your toe in the water in. Enrich, Propensity come to mind. But dipping your toe in the water on intent, I think, is super important. The last type of intent is called single stream intent. This is my version of single stream intent. I named it. And there's really one company that's doing this in freight, and they're doing it. It's great. We love this tool, and it's called carriersource.io. So Rob Light called me a few years ago. He's their CEO and said, hey, you're the only person talking about intent data and freight. Come look at what I have. And he has shippers coming to his website, Carrier Source, looking for a truck. And then he is selling that intent data back to brokers. And it is working. It's working like a charm. So those are the 4 types of intent data. Here's one more piece for you though. At the SMB or mid-market, sort of where customers are, where brokers, carriers, forwarders, freight tech are in their journey. If you are starting your CRM or marketing automation journey today, you are not ready for intent. So we're in a little bit of a journey, right? We got to like get on the journey. 0 to 1 is first. And then after you're kind of up and running in your GTM approach, then we add on the intent tool on the back end.
So you basically answered my next question, which was what is the biggest mistake you see logistics founders and brokers making when it comes to growth? So you advise we start using the tools, then implement the intent. Is that
so that is, yes, that is true, but I do not think it is actually the biggest mistake. May I tell you the biggest mistake? The biggest mistake still to this day, and it boggles my mind when it happens, is holding the sales team accountable. Wow. It is still the biggest mistake. People are still letting their sales teams work half a week. They're not tracking phone calls, meetings, in-persons, text messages. Like they're not focused on the activity that will lead to a closed deal. So we spend a lot of time delivering pipeline. Sometimes we deliver pipe and then the sales team does not follow up and we end up sitting on the pipeline. There's a new word that's been coming up in the sort of B2B demand gen space, and it's called signals. So the idea that there's 4 intent data types is all based on the signals. So the signals that the enterprise shippers are putting out into the marketplace, and a signal has a half-life. Kind of like caffeine or, the atom, right? Like a nuclear bomb, right? It has a half-life. And so when a signal first comes out, a signal's super hot. So someone says, oh, I'm interested. I want to buy right now. Okay. And over time, the efficacy of that signal decreases. Mm-hmm. So the longer you wait to reach out, the longer you wait to put yourself in front of that customer, the least effective it'll be.
Yes, I have read this quote. The longer you wait, the coffee gets colder, right?
Yes, I like that. The coffee gets colder on the signals too.
Yeah, so what are the signals? Like maybe they want a big project or they want a government contract. Can you please tell us a couple of big signals?
Yep, that's exactly right. So we want a new deal. A lot of times it comes from the board. So, hey, the board wants me to look at adjusting our transportation spend, or we're going to open a new warehouse, or I have to buy robots for something, right? Like there's a leadership decision that's then trickled down through the organization, and we get to see the signals of the team that's doing the research that then is brought back up to the leadership team to make a decision on. Signals are also people changing jobs. So inside of the HubSpot buyer intent tool we talked about a few minutes ago, once you turn it on, Linda, is in my HubSpot. You change jobs. HubSpot sends me a signal that you have changed jobs. Now, if they were your customer when they worked at Sherwin-Williams, they should be your customer when they go to Benjamin Moore. And so that job change is another signal. And so there's this laundry list of signals that happen. It's downloading Gartner Magic Quadrants. The new 4PL Gartner Magic Quadrant just came out officially today. And so people are looking at the Gartner Magic Quadrant, they're downloading research, like all of those are signals that someone is in a buying process.
Yes. So now I'm going to ask you next strategic question. When we have 5 companies and they got the same intent signal, what is a way to beat the competitors? I know one is like being fast and being
first. Yeah. The other way is to have a very specific point of view. And oftentimes I find in the freight brokerage space specifically, warehouse providers don't seem to have this problem. They seem to kind of know who they are and exactly what they want to do. But in the brokerage space, because it's, anybody that ships is kind of what they say about the ideal customer profile. It can be a little hard to get some of our friends in freight to choose a niche, right? Like you got to choose it, you got to pick it, right? Like I'm a B2B marketer. I could have chosen healthcare, I could have chosen recruiting, but I chose logistics. And so if you have a specific niche that you are the best in, then create content that shows that you are the absolute best at this thing. I'll give you a very specific example. I was at a trade show talking to someone who's really good at delivering heavy, ugly stuff to data centers. Like they're really good at data center transportation, which is super hot right now, right? And so he said to me, yeah, we're seeing our competitors enter our space because data centers are hot, they're all over the news, and so now everybody wants to be in the data center space. And my comment to him was, you need to own a point of view that you are the best at the data center transportation space. And the best way to do that is to put out what we like to think of as an index, 3 KPIs every single month. And that goes out to the universe, it goes out to the press, it goes out to people that own data centers, it goes out to your competitors, but you are signaling to the marketplace that you are the best in data center transportation execution. And then you kind of build a moat, right? You build a moat around what you're specialist in, what you specialize in. And then you have to kind of decide, this is what is really hard for people. You have to decide what you're not going to invest in. Because the opportunity cost of doing the same in forestry, which is totally different than data centers, are 2 very different things. And so sticking to the niche and owning it is a really easy way to A, be first, and then B, be chosen.
Exactly. I love it. Basically branding. Brand yourself that you are the specialist for that niche, data science or whatever it is you are doing.
Yep.
I love it. That's my, favorite thing to do. So I have to ask you, one of your posts went viral about Meghan Markle, right? People avoid being strategic even when they know it's the only way to win.
Yeah, I think Meghan Markle is the most strategic person on the planet, right? This woman grew up in Compton, and her children are literally a prince and princess. Like, that does not happen by accident. She put herself in the right place to be introduced to this man and found a way, however she got him to marry her. Like, well done. Like, I think that's awesome. And so I think she's a great example of just a master strategist, right? And now she's doing other stuff, and I'm obsessed with her TV show, and I love everything about Meghan Markle. But I think she's a little polarizing. But I was very happy that people thought that was interesting on LinkedIn.
Of course. So I have another question. If a logistics company came to you today and said, we want to scale revenue fast but smart, where do we start? What would you tell them?
Yeah. So there are 3 strategies that work in freight. The first is a true executive point of view, like an index. 2 is layering intent data onto an established CRM and marketing automation platform. And 3 is partnerships. And depending on the logistics organization, the Gartner ecosystem can also be super, super valuable. And I think there's a lot of folks that, hey, Gartner's pay to play and we don't want to play that game and blah, blah, blah. And I don't disagree. Gartner is definitely pay to play. But shippers care. Right? Shippers are the ones that we're not worried about each other, right? Like we're not selling to each other, we're selling to shippers. And if you think about the gentleman who, I don't know, runs Sherwin-Williams, transportation management software decision-making process, he is going to use the Gartner Magic Quadrant as part of his package that he takes to his boss, right? And so I think if we think about the shipper decision-making process, it kind of changes that calculus a little bit. But the 3 things that I would do is I would make sure that I have an executive point of view. I would dip my toe in the water on intent data for sure. And I would make sure that I have a really strong partnership strategy, because partnerships in supply chain equal third-party validation. And so some really great examples of really strong partnership ecosystems in freight. 1 is P44, 2 is highway, right? McLeod does a really good job of just like the volume of partners that they have that really prove that they are forward thinking and that they're easy to work with, et cetera. So those are the 3 strategies that we would use. Although most of the time, our clients are not holding their sales team accountable. So none of it matters because the minute you put a lead in front of them, the salesperson calls them twice and then walks away. And so the most important thing that we are talking to people about on a regular basis is holding their sales teams accountable.
I like this is like Alex Harmozy style. Keep your sales team accountable. Kara is mentioning it 2 times. It means that's very important. If you don't remember anything else, just remember this part. Okay, Kara. So now you are a woman at the top of very male-dominated space. What has a journey looked like, and what one marketing things that you would advise women in logistics,
Oh, that's such a
especially?
good question.
Mhm.
I've had a
I'm
wonderful
asking
run.
all good questions.
Yeah, such a good question. I just had a great run in this space. I'm happy to be a woman in freight. It's nice that I'm a woman and I'm just not just another guy named Bill, so that I'm a little bit memorable, right? I've had wonderful experiences, fantastic mentors, people that have been willing to give me a chance. Lots and lots of men who have been willing to say, okay, like she actually sounds pretty smart. Let's bring her in and see what she can do. Um, I think as a woman in freight, it's just I like to be thought of as a business person first. I'm always a woman. I can't change that. So I want to be thought of as a solid business person. I want when I leave the room, I want people to say, she's aggressive, she's tough, there's a lot there, she's smart, but she's a really good business person, right? Like I trust that her business instincts seem legitimate and seem solid. But I've had a wonderful run in logistics. I have no complaints being a woman in the space.
I love your answer because I have no complaints either. I am so, I think it's advantage being a woman in logistics because there is a even statistic that men are more willing to do business with women and are more helpful to women. So,
Can I
from
tell you a funny story?
yes.
So this story is actually in my book. So in 2013, I was working for one of the first digital freight brokers, like the true like Ubers of freight before Uber Freight, right?
Mm,
And we had 25 reps on a desk and 8 reps on a kind of marketing desk they were running all of my experiments, right?
mm.
And this was early on. This was 2013. So this is before you could send mass emails at scale. And every night I had these 8 reps. I was sending emails on their behalf. And then in the morning they would get in and they were booking the freight. So it was great. We had this really awesome kind of, I would send the emails at night and they would come in and book the freight. But one of the people on the team, a woman, was getting higher returns than the guys. Like she kept getting higher open rates and higher return rates, like just 4 or 5 point higher. And I was like, this is really annoying. Like she's not doing anything different. She just is always getting better open. So I was like, let's just turn all the boys into girls. So we did. So we turned Bob into Rachel and Joe into Sheila. And we had like a whiteboard for who was who. And then a girlfriend of mine was like, who are you emailing? I was kind of telling her what was going on. And I was like, well, basically trucking company, like basically truckers, like,
Yes.
whoever it is in trucking company. And she goes, turn them into strippers. So we did. So we had Bambi, Candy, Angel. Our open rates went through the roof. Like everyone was super happy. It worked like a charm, right? So sex sells for sure. Definitely still to this day. You can't do it today because we like made fake people and like Google
Yes.
doesn't love that now. And like, you couldn't do it today. But 13 years or 15 years ago, it worked as like a charm. It was awesome.
Oh, I love it. Kara, so I prepared rapid fire questions. So whatever first comes to your mind, you have to answer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Lead gen or demand gen?
Demand gen.
Email or LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Brand or pipeline?
Pipeline.
Data or intuition?
Data.
Cold outreach, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Most powerful skill for a marketer in 2025?
Math.
One thing every company should automate today?
AI SDRs.
I love it. Freight tech you are obsessed with right now?
Freight tech?
Yes.
Oh dear. I don't use freight tech. Can I give you a MarTech that I'm obsessed with?
Yes.
Okay, I'm obsessed with 6 Sense. I'm obsessed. I love it.
One word to describe the future of logistics?
automated.
Oh, I love it. You are touching my heart, Kara. Thank you so much. This was incredible, and I enjoyed our interview. And thank you so much for being real and honest and bring value to our freight community and shared your knowledge, what you have been doing and are continuing doing in our space. So, for everyone listening, if you are serious about growing, scaling, or actually measuring your GTM performance, Kara and her team at lead coverage are real deal, as you can see. We don't fake it here, right, Kara? And thank you so much for tuning in. And you can check this podcast in Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.